We're capable to change our life in any moment. We just say it's enough and just started to move forward. It's all about determination and discipline towards being authentic yourself. When you're exploring and expanding yourself, you understand it's no limits.
Okay, good morning, and what an amazing, just incredible day it's going to be today, and we are having today. And I want to welcome to the Living Boldly with Purpose podcast with Dr. B. And every opportunity I get to learn somebody new and get in a different relationship and see the excitement on people's faces when they get to live in their purpose. And I was talking to Aisha before the show, and she tells me she's out on the ocean in a boat, wants to be a captain, and is learning all these things. And I used to be a beach guard, and so I'm not scared of the water, but I'm kind of scared of the water when there's no shore. At least when you're a beach guard, you never went so far out. Or sometimes I'll be in the Caribbean or something, and the water's so clear, and then you can always see the island. I never tried to get out where I'm not. But how exciting is it to be able to spend time doing something you truly love? And I think there's so many of us who go through life that don't ever get to do that, or they do it so limited. We have, whether it's money or if it's time, and we do what our parents or what our community or what the folks around us tell us we should do. And then we get stuck in these ruts, and we're doing something for somebody else, and we never ever get to take the time, or very rarely do we get to take the time to do stuff that we love. And so I'm so excited that Aisha is in the point of her life that she is in, and that she is able to do some of these wonderful things. And so I asked her to tell her story, tell us, where she came from, what she's done, and then we can kind of chop it up after that. And so the floor is yours. I can't wait to hear all about you, what you've been doing your whole life, and then we'll go on from there. You can start wherever you want, though. Yeah.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm Aisha Shamkara, the artist and author, and yeah, global traveler. My life started in a small village in the middle of nowhere, between Mongolia and Russia, and where I was born. And when I was like almost 2 years old, my mother abandoned me and left me in an orphan house where I grew up, and learned many things about independency and how to survive, and kind of like living a life that not so many people probably um, experience to live. And from my childhood, I learned how to stand up for myself and how to speak up for myself. And I learned like from the perspective of adults that time, it was not so normal because I had like always opinions and I always have these ideas of what is good. Even so as a kid, like always have this like way of thinking for myself. So where I can start, I love I love to be in a lot of time in the nature because in the beginning I didn't have any friends, of course, because like you kind of like a little baby and you're crying all the time, and you get to ask for the attention, and attention is not there. And it was not easy moments of life of experiencing that I experienced. And the same time, I believe that it's something there for me that I don't know, and it's still there for me. So I learned one thing that um, we get to all dream. And when I started to read, I love to read fairy tales. And after I started to read mythology, and after I started to read different like stories and different um, like different books. I'm a big reader, so for me, many things changed because I started to read, I started to dream, and I started to kind of like realizing life is a dream. And so I started to be more creative. Like I would say more like a small creative because um, like I said, for example, when I was 8 to 9 years old, I write to the magazine. I found like in one of the magazines about English school, and I
Mhm.
want to learn English, and nobody in my village speak English, or like we didn't have any like teachers in English, and I wrote a letter explaining who I am and what I am, where I come from, and all
Mhm.
the story. I remember it was many, many pages. And I wrote to the school, and they started to send me books in English and like the cassette and all the information for free for many, many years. And I was trying to learn on my own English. Sorry. And what happened is like that's kind of like a things that I was curious about. Like
Mhm.
I was not just curious, I was like um want to explore, and I was finding ways to do that, like um explore that, like just ask questions, like just go and ask for more questions, and like and just tell them what you're dreaming and why you're dreaming, and people will tell me, no, don't share dream with anyone your dreams. And I was like I've been so confused. It was like when I was a kid, like why I cannot share my dreams? It's just a dream, it's not like anything like real, it's just a dream. So I was like, sometimes I was confused because I knew um, all my dreams become true, and I'm living an amazing life, and I'm living like fairy tale life, and I was feeling like I'm really living in a fairy tale. And what happened is, in my life, it's like I really learn one thing, that we get to be positive. No matter what's going on in our life, we get to get over it as fast as possible. Because when I went through the challenges in my childhood and my teenagers years, was not easy to go through. And at the same time, it is what it is. Like one of the challenges was like growing up, for example, without any kind of boundaries or any type of like understanding what respect, what love, what like some simple like things that when you have parents are a little bit like navigating you, and when you don't have them, like nobody navigates you. You get to navigate yourself through life, kind of like being this independent explorer, and find their own ways of what life means, and what happened is like I started to imagine. I started to kind of like just use my imaginary, what matters for me, use my like creative skills,
Mhm.
and slowly I started to understand that life is happening for us. We like we're creating, we're attracting the things that we need to achieve what we want. And the thing is like many times in our life, what we need, with like universe or like energy or God sending us these things to get what we want. And many times we cannot go through the experience of because of our emotions. And I feel many times when we cannot get over our own emotions, the repetition is happening again. Like it's a new situation will happening, and new repetition will happen. So in my life I was feeling like I was very paying attention to these things. And I remember when I had friends, and we had a situation that where we like fight over something, and we just stopped to be friends. And after like a while, she we like after a few years or something, we like talk through, and we continue to be friends. But like it took a while after this, like a kind of like a very very big fight, and next situation was my other friend. We had exactly the same situation where I pay attention to the situation. I said to myself, Aisha, here you get to be way more like flowing and
Mhm.
happy and joyful, and do your best to kind of like around the situation and make best possible to stay friends, like stay like together. And I
Mhm.
manage it. And that I was feeling like every time when in my life the repetition is happening, so I'm feeling like I haven't learned something from before, like, and slowly we're learning this through life, that life is a repetition. Life, it's many different things that's happening for us. The things is we get to pay attention to something that matters for us and understand why it matters for us. Because life like short, in the same time life is so long,
Mhm.
and we get to decide what we want to do. For example, like what type of the service we want to provide to the people, why, what type of the skills we have to live our amazing life, how we can contribute to the society, in what way and why. Because I believe each of us has a role.
Mhm.
Like in my life, like I understood in my childhood years, I went through some suicidal time, and it was like many different things. I was asking myself why did it, because it was very brutal environment. It was very cold, no love, no attention. And as a kid you need it, and after when you become a teenager you need that kind of like belonging, that the feeling of belonging. And you don't feel that feeling of belonging, and after you started to search for that belonging, and you end up not in a not good companies. In my case, I end up not in a good company, where we did not good things like for the society. For us, we've been just kids, who are kind of like having fun in our way. And what happened is my friends like started to die of overdose or like of
No.
accidents or something like that when I was like between like close to 15. And I was like asking myself, wow, would I survive until I'm 18? So when I started to face the death, I started to ask myself deeper questions,
Mhm.
like what I want to do with my life, what I
Yeah.
want to like kind of like explore my life, how I want to live it, what I want to achieve it, the way I want to kind of. I was started to imagine it, and the funny thing is, like more I was imagining it, I started to live it. I really started to live it, because I said to myself, like, oh, between 20 to 30, I'm going to travel around the world. Between 30 to 40, I want to be like a entrepreneur, a businesswoman. Between 40 to 50, I'm a mentor, like mentoring people around the world. Between 50 to 60, I'm volunteering with UNESCO, whatever, just traveling. And I was like, and I'm dying in my 60. And the reality is, I was now I have like already planned for 200 years. But that time when I was 15, I was thinking 60 years is like so many years. And
Yeah.
now I'm kind of like switching my like the interpretation of time or age, whatever it is. The thing is like, because you're facing so many things, and because in your country people dying actually in very early age, and that age is actually like good age to live. So like it's many things why we're thinking that way, and not so many people actually think of planning thing ahead, or leaving them,
Mhm.
or imagine them or create them. So like many times people just living life. They go into the school, and after they go into the university, and after they get a job, and they're just working, and after they have a family, they have kids, they stuck with that 9 to 5 or whatever the work they do, because that pays the bills, and they scary of living a life. They become like a, I would say, like robots,
Okay.
with the same repetition every day, and they don't even like want to ask themselves why they do what they do, because it scares them. It's really scares people to do things, to like to face or to ask the question why they do what they do.
Yeah.
And in my life, I always question myself. I said to myself, okay, right now, when I didn't get into the journalist school because of circumstances that was created, not because my will, because some like my the teachers and the school didn't want me actually succeed. They didn't want me to be successful. They
Mhm.
want me to be in a like miserable, and like they didn't want to help me to lift me up. They
Yeah.
the continuously like pushing me down. And because of my resilience, because of me believing in myself and my beliefs, I created the reality. I went to travel. I went, moved to the bigger city, and after I moved to the capital, and after I moved to like, further to Norway and travel around the world. And I'm just feeling like it's all about the small decisions, the small steps that we're taking, and we don't look back. We're just staying in one, we're just moving forward. And we don't like making all this like emotional things because we don't want to like I would say process them, because I'm thinking like emotions coming and go, we're letting them stay because of the programs that we have through the time, through the like through the our
Mhm.
childhood experience, or like childhood traumas or whatever. And all these things, I started to ask myself why I'm like become emotional, and why I'm letting this emotion stay. And this is not good emotions to have. Why?
Mhm.
And I started to switch slowly to the positive thinking more and more. I started to practice more meditation, like I do journaling, for example, from early age. And I started with more meditation. I started to do more meditation and more meditation. And it helps me completely to switch my mindset to the abundance and joy. And I started to practice more joy. And everything in my experience, or like in my life experience, I'm filtering through the joy. And I feel like all these things that for me it was something like um I would say like beautiful, like that I see the beauty in my life, or that what I'm doing was matters for me in the first place. And I didn't care about what other people think about me, or like why they tell me things. I didn't have the I would say the judge in me.
Mhm.
And I was just exploring things. I was curious, I was flowing, I was doing the things that matters for me. And the things started to switch around because of my when I moved to Norway, and the structure of society and the way society works, the way everything is like so wonderfully well, that in a young age, as my brain, I was using to say to the people, like my brain was formed um, in Norway, because when you're moving so early uh, to the like what it's called, like to the new country, you're learning new language, you're learning new things, you're learning like so many things about yourself. You're creating your personality. You create it's like you building completely different you. And what I learned by me speaking different languages, I speak like Norwegian, Swedish, Portuguese, English, Russian. So for me, like speaking so many languages, I learned one thing, that is programs. It's a code. And in each this language, it forms your personality, your kind of like who you are and the way you are. And in this new language, it's in your personality. More you're practicing language, like that personality you develop. The things is you have the structure, you have this pillar, the I would say like your belief system that is there, believing in yourself, trusting the journey, trusting to the process of life. And more you're trusting to the process of life, more you're learning of experience things with a joy, and understanding that life has beginning and end. In reality, you don't know the end. You can plan whatever you want. The thing is like you cannot plan your death. And I was thinking like, oh, the death can happen. It just happened one day over all many other days that I'm going to live, and it's just going to be as many like just one day, and I'm
Mhm.
not here anymore, and I said, why I get to worry about future and about like what's going to be with me in 10 years or 20 years or 30 years, and planning and planning and planning and saving and saving and saving, when I can live now, while I'm young and beautiful and want to go and explore and have energy to do the things that I want to do and create what I want to create. And slowly, I believe by us enjoying this amazing life, we can actually do the so many beautiful things for ourselves and for the people around us. And I feel by me being me, I'm inspiring more people by being example of who I am, the way I am. And I feel like many times people don't even think who can they be or like how they can create their magical life or like their dream life. They don't even ask themselves these questions. And for me, like I ask all the time questions, and more questions I'm asking, deeper I go. And the funny thing is like it's limitless of possibilities there. That is just
Mhm.
crazy. And the more you started to think all these possibilities, and there's like it's all in your mind. And the thing is like, oh my gosh, it's just so amazing and like it's so magical. And more you're exploring and expanding yourself, you understand it's no limits. It's completely no limits how big you can be. And it's all about determination and discipline towards being authentic yourself. Just it's simple. By being authentic yourself, it can be so beautiful and scary in the same time.
Mhm.
To be
Mhm.
vulnerable, to be open, to be like I don't know, be like human. We're
Mhm.
so like fragile. Humans are so fragile, and at the same time, when I'm learning to be the way I am, I understand like life is an amazing gift, and more I'm developing myself and growing myself, I'm like really seeing life as an amazing, beautiful gift. So for me, so yeah, I'm very, very happy human being, and I really live joyful life. And I'm I cannot, I cannot. I mean, I would say I can regret about few things that I because of my impatient things. In the same time, I feel like it was me that moment of my life because I'm a creative human being, and we have all these emotions that sometimes we just flip, and it's just like going crazy in some moments, and after like
Mhm.
hello, here we are, again. So for me, like being actually creative, being artist, it's limitless of possibilities how I can be more better, more like more lighter, more, expressive and beautiful for other people. And many times I'm just grateful for whatever I experienced in this life. Yes, it's not easy. Some experience was not easy. Some days was completely like crazy, not easy. But
Uh-huh.
like the thing is, I'm still here. I'm
Yeah.
still like
Yeah.
enjoying life. The
Yeah.
after like being completely like with no money, living in the street, like doing like me in my life, like I'm still so young, but in my life so many crazy things already happened, and I'm like, no matter what happened next, I'm ready,
You
with a
ready? I love
smile.
it. Yeah. I love it. That,
Bring
that,
it in, bring it in. This is what I'm saying. And that's the attitude, you get to kind of like be ready for just smile and take it with a positive attitude. That's it. Nothing else. And do your best to be positive as possible because it's no other way. Because we as a humans, we have a choice.
Mhm.
And this choice, we get to practice our positive thinking and positive attitude because we have a choice to think how I can react. Do I want to react positive or like negative? Do I want to create drama or I want to create solution? Like we always have the choice of decide the way we want to express ourselves. And I
Mhm.
feel like many times we can be overwhelmed, of
Mhm.
course, like many things can happen in the same moment and we can be overwhelmed. At the same time, still by being overwhelmed, we can be happy. Happy that we're overwhelmed actually as well and be joyful. and be grateful for that. So I started to learn more and more about how things works, and I started to appreciate more and more my life the way it is, and appreciate that I'm really living a dream, you know, and all my dreams that I have, they all become true. My next dream became being captain, for example. It's true. And I'm working toward that. I'm creating it. I know I already sent my art to the space. I'm the one of the first artists in the world who sent the art in the space. So like I have done so many amazing things already. Like I travel all the countries that I want to travel to. I done like so many amazing things, like volunteering, and like whatever I imagine, I just go and do it. And I'm just feeling like I ask myself, I don't have anyone, like I just have me. So I get to just to take care of myself. And that's I'm doing actually a very good job of taking care of myself. And I'm just feeling like not so many people capable of taking themselves to that level.
Mhm. Gotcha.
And I feeling like it's not because they um they don't want, it's because they don't question themselves. They don't ask themselves questions. They're afraid or scary of their own, like facing their own reality, like getting out of the comfort zone, getting out of the all of what they
Mhm.
created, and getting out of this program of self-limited beliefs. And I believe like we're capable to change our life in any moment. We
Mhm.
just say it's enough and just started to move forward in a completely different direction because it's our choice. So in my book, for example, that I wrote, Joyful Living Guidebook, I used to say like life is a choice. Life is a magic itself. Like we get to live it, experience it, appreciate it, and love it just the way it is. You cannot change your past. Past is past. You like, and you can still work towards better future because it's a choice by having positive attitude towards better future.
Cool. Well, you said earlier that you're a world traveler. Where are you at in the world right now?
I'm in Lisbon, Portugal. I really enjoy to live here. It's an amazing country. I really invite you to come over and,
Okay.
be here in Lisbon, or like Portugal has amazing programs like a golden visa program for the people who want to invest. I started from 250,000 and up, and where you can invest in many different properties in residence or commercials, whatever you decide, and to get a passport, Portuguese passport, after 5 years. And Portuguese passport is number five passport in the world, and better than American.
Wow.
And it's very easy. Like, and we have also very good retirement program, 10 years, where you're tax free by moving to Portugal as a residence, and like by retired in Portugal. So we have many beautiful options here as because I'm working in investment tools as well. Like, and we have. I just love the Portuguese people. They're like really doing their best to look for solution. Yes, maybe sometimes they can be slowly and um, like um, I would say too happy about enjoying so much life and eating so good food. At the same time, before it irritates me when I was living here. Now I really appreciate it because we get to really like appreciate and enjoy life. And life is about like enjoying food, enjoying dance, enjoying, like just enjoy. And that's what I feel here. And really, I really feel I do what I love, and I enjoy my life. I still can travel like everywhere in the world because Lisbon Airport is like very international. It's going in so many places around the world, and it's very very cheap compared to other airports. And for me, it's like the best place in the world.
Okay. How many languages do you speak?
I speak five languages: is Russian, English, Norwegian, Swedish, Portuguese, and Spanish a little bit.
Oh my gosh. So when you think about identity, like who you are, you've lived in all these places, you've had to speak different languages to different people. How do you reconcile who you are to be able to interact with all these different cultures, with all these different communities, with all these different people? Do you get lost sometimes in who they are you just able to be you the whole time?
Um, well, sometimes you get lost, that's for sure. But the thing is like, I feel even to get lost is also good
Mhm.
because it's scary. You know, I remember when I got lost, I would say I was so confused. It was like when I was learning about the idea of the family, you know, and marriage and all of that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was like such an idealist, you know, I was like making it in such my world. It was like, oh, I get to do it so perfectly, and everything is get to probably like be so perfect. In reality, it's so disappointing, you know. And after like you're learning through this experience and you lost yourself because you confused what was the story like before and the story after. It's completely different story. The thing is like it's still life, and it's okay to get lost and being confused, but the thing is also it's you don't know sometimes how long you're going to be lost. Sometimes people get lost and they never come back. So like in my case, I get lost and I come back because I said to myself, no, I get to come back because it doesn't like to get lost and all just wander around the world, and it's good. The thing is you're learning a lot of things. At the same time, I feel like the universe, so God, have a purpose for me, or
Mhm.
have the something that I get to deliver to the universe, or like to the planet Earth.
Right.
And I cannot that's what I learned. I cannot wander around and just be lost, like kind of like this ghost like moving around in the world. I realize that I get to deliver something to the world. That's what, you know, that's the reason why I come back to Europe, you know, and all this the thing that I'm doing right now, because I started to realize I have a gift of voice, and I get to my way of thinking is completely different
Mhm.
from, you know, many people, the way they structure the life or the way they living the life. And I feel I'm talented in so many different ways, and
Mhm.
I'm I'm just me, you know, like I didn't know that I have um like I wrote the English book, and you know, like my first language is not English, and I have the confidence to write it, to publish it, and you know, to do all the work. I'm publishing right now my second book in English. So like for me, it's no like I was started to say to myself, it's not like limits how much you can explore yourself. It's about just go and throw yourself there, and that's it. And to see what's going to happen. Don't be scared of throwing yourself over there and showing up for yourself, and just have fun with that. You know, like it's not you're learning on the way. That's how I started my art like art career. I was just learning on the way, and I understood by learning on the way. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun in the beginning, and so much not fun in the middle, and after like you're realizing like how beautiful and magical and dreamy life is,
Mhm.
and how much like appreciation, and how much beautiful things we can create with one life. And that's what helps me to understand that I'm a powerful creator. When I started to go through one experience to another experience, and being fearless, or just face it, you know, just trust it, just throw myself there. And I feel like it's just a process as anything else. You're learning. It's like being in a flow. That's my second book called like Dream Life in the Flow.
Dream life in a flow. One of the things that I would love to kind of explore and know from you, um, when like when I think about our brains and I think about how they work, and I think about things like anxiety or anticipation. Anxiety is when you're worried about a future outcome that is undesirable. You know, anticipation is I can't wait for a future outcome that is going to happen because it's going to be positive. You talk a lot about positivity. knowing you know five languages and we communicate with ourselves with words, what language do you think in? And then how do you process, like when you're in other situations with other people? Because that's just so fascinating to me. Like, how do you process when is it one language when you're upset and a different language when you're happy? How does that work?
So for me, I'm thinking in English a
Okay.
lot of the time, and I'm speaking in English and I'm writing in English most of the time. And I feel like English become my first language because it's way easy for me to communicate in English
Gotcha.
than right now in other languages. Even so, I speak fluently other languages as well. The thing is like I'm kind of deciding to
Hmm.
speak one language right now because when you're speaking too many languages, it's great. The thing is, it takes such a long time to um, to build a personality in one language and like to build the vocabulary in one language and have the structure of conversation like we having conversation. I'm understanding you and you understanding what I'm talking about and me
Hmm.
having a structure foundation like the story right that I'm communicating with you. So for me like it's always about understanding what best right now. Like when I moved to Norway and I didn't speak, I just started to learn. Like I was speaking a little bit English, but my English was not so good. Very like I would say like lowest level of the skill. And what happened is like I learned that if I live in Norway, I get to learn Norwegian because Norwegian culture is amazing, you know, like and so wonderful things, and it was like so amazing way of structure things and they create life there. So I decided to focus in Norwegian language, and I learned fluently Norwegian. You know, my level was like I was working as engineer and like and all this like very like high level of speaking, you know, communicating the language. And when I moved to Portugal, I started to learn Portuguese because for me, like the language is kind of like a culture. You know, you're learning about through the language, you're learning about history, about the culture, about why the things is. It's like a code or like a program, you know, itself. And for me, the most easy language and most positive language, more like happy language, was English, American English. And when I moved to America, or like when I was traveling to America many years, I felt like it's such a happy language. It's like every time it's just so happy and so like kind of like positive. And when I moved to America, it's like it was not real. You know, it was kind of like empty. You know,
Yeah.
you kind of like programmed to be like that. The thing is like you don't feel like that.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the funny things because I was feeling that people feel like that and because I do feel like that. And that's the funny things. And I was like, why people don't feel that? Why they feel more like empty and they just smile and you know being positive. In reality they don't feel it.
Yeah.
And it's a practice. And I said it's a choice as anything else, right? And I love to speak English. I love to communicate in English, and I love to have this conversation about joyful living or positivity around like motivation, inspiration, because it's real. It works.
Mhm.
Like if you look at America or like American English and many countries speaking English right now. Why? Because of the technology, because of the way we started to structure after the Second World War, what language we get to choose and why, and all of that, you know. And I'm feeling like it's create this bubble, and that bubble actually being not natural, being created, and so for people it's not natural. They get to practice that, and they get to not just practice, they get to also decide it, to feel it. And because we have a choice, that's what I, again, we can decide to feel what we want to feel and invite the feelings we want to feel. Yes, sometimes it's okay to be upset, but
Yeah. Yeah.
don't stay upset for too long. Like lift yourself up, reward yourself, give yourself like clap on the shoulder, say like, okay, I'm upset right now, and it's fine. But how long I'm going to be upset? It's like a 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, you know. And I feel like it's us. as fast as you go get over yourself, like being upset about something, and helping yourself to be happy again or joyful again, it's a process. Sometimes it doesn't work so fast. And the thing is, we get to decide about that as well, like how fast it can go.
If
Because
I want to ask you a quick question, if because you are so positive and there's so many things that you're saying that are good. If I were to take my daughter and I'm going to say, I want you to go visit Aisha, and I want you to go spend a week with Aisha, what would you teach her about having this amazing life that you would like to have? What are some of the things that you would do with her? What are the things you would say to her? How would you help her become this amazing woman that you have become?
if someone wants to spend a week with me, probably I would start it with, not probably, I would start with conversation, what the dream life or what the life they would like to have and why.
Mhm.
And I will go deeper into their why until I will understand what their why is. And why I understand what this, the why is, I can help them to structure better the patterns in life. So, like with meditation first, journaling, like dancing, creating like a flow slowly. And it takes time. It's a habit. It's a habit. It's like
Mhm.
you integrating a new program into yourself. And in my programs, for example, that I'm having my mentorship programs, 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months. It's like a process. 3 months process, we're working on one thing. 6 months, it's like on a different things. 12 months in a completely different things. So like it's you. I'm building. I would say a structure or like a pillar, like a center in people life. I don't know, like in people body. The thing is like I can also see where people stuck in what area of their mental or emotions or physical things that they, with health. So I see very easily by working with them day by day, or like seeing them and like asking the questions, like and see where they're at right now. So for me, like I see how I can help them. The thing is, not so many people open enough to receive the help and accept the help and like kind of like leaving the experience that been created for them for the good. And because it's scary, right? It's scary. The change is scary, people. Like the change, the
Mhm.
unknown, it's very scary for the people. That's why I feel like why people scared of something that they don't know, why they're not excited about that, why they're not like curious about that, why they cannot change towards curiosity and excitement. Because when we've been kids, we've been just curious and excited. We didn't have a fear. The fear come later because we just live in the moment. We just been curious about animals, about plants, water, just play all the time, just being in the moment, just playing with ourselves, like having all this and like what change? Why people like when they're getting older, they switch that towards the fear and to and not be any more playful and curious about life. And
Mhm.
that's the question because like I'm asking like why people do that, what switched them, what changed their perspective when they enter in the adult life, that it scares them.
Mhm. What what's your thoughts about family? Because it sounds like I can't imagine that if you go to all these places and live in all these places, you're bringing your whole family around with you, or you're creating family and that kind of stuff. And so when I think about some of the things that we love, loving connection and having relationship, and that's what makes us as humans. How do you reconcile all the fun things that you do, but still be connected with family? How do you do that?
I feel like world is my family,
Okay.
like because it's like whenever I go, it's like I'm meeting my family, my new family that I haven't met yet.
Okay.
That's why like my attitude is like, oh, it's like, oh, world is my family. It doesn't matter where I'm going in the world, there's my family. And like that's how my brain works, and I'm feeling that, so I create that vibe of the family because I didn't have my own family. I didn't grow up in that environment. So like I'm kind of like have this imaginary.
Mhm.
So I have amazing friends, like they're my family, and I have like this like oh like every time I'm traveling, it's just so people are so friendly and so caring and so like in the moment like to help and to support and to share the story. And I'm feeling like that's the beauty of life. That's the
Yeah.
beauty of life when we started to see everyone as a family, everyone as a like joyful beings. Because people actually, when you're traveling around the world, if from their heart, they want to help you. They want to show you their country, their language, the tradition, the culture. They curious to about you, and they're curious to learn from you as well, because for them you like alien. You come from somewhere like very far away, and they don't travel so much like as you do, for example, in this case as I do. And I feel like we don't understand like how powerful we can be and how privileged it is to actually have this opportunity to travel around the world and to explore so many new places around the world and see how beautiful world is actually. Because the media and all these things that's showing around, it's actually not true. 90% of what media is showing us, it's not true. When you started to travel and become a traveler, you understand that life is just so, it doesn't matter where you're in the world, it's all the same. Like people working, people study, people do exactly
Yeah.
the same things like in all these other languages, and people do exactly the same things for the money. And you started to realize that it's just a different levels. And if I'm working in America and I'm online and I'm living somewhere in Indonesia or somewhere in Thailand or somewhere in Vietnam, where I'm spending maybe like in a month $300, and I'm getting like a salary of $10,000, like for like I feel that's the beauty of
Mhm.
understanding when you nomad and they travel around the world and have this opportunity to travel around the world. You can locate absolutely anywhere in the world and
Yeah.
have this um, experience of like living the life in so many different places around the world.
Yeah. But I guess my question would be then, because you have like I have 8 children and 16 grandkids. So
Wow,
and it's hard
so
to keep,
cool. You're
yeah,
so happy.
yeah. It is so hard to keep track of them. And I'm thinking, how does Aisha have a family in Russia, a family in Norway, a family in Portugal, a family in, you know, USA, and then still keep track? I mean, technology allows you to. So, do you kind of just like, okay, I'm not going to really have a talk conversations with you for a while because I got all these families. How do you keep track of all these friends you've made over time? That's so cool.
Well, my Norwegian friends, they travel a lot. Sometimes we travel together, so
Okay,
it's nice
good to
because
see
they're
them.
really
Okay.
well travelers. My Portuguese friends, very, very wonderful. They're like right now, like all around me here. They really
Mhm.
love me, and I'm really appreciate that. And my American friends always like sending me gifts, like a reminder of how much they love me and how much they like missing me. That when I'm coming back, and I say like, no, 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 you get to come and visit Europe one time in your life.
Yeah, yeah,
It's easy for me to go to you guys, but it's not easy for you guys to come to me. So like I'm right now doing my best to invite my American friends to Lisbon because they started to already come slowly, but like
yeah,
for like a 1 week max. The thing is like because in America you're working so much,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's not, it's no time to go somewhere far away. And so like I'm right now slowly motivating them to do this trips at least for like a week to experience Europe, and organizing all the trips for them, like a road
Yeah,
trip or
cool,
like
cool.
something very cool, very cool, like every day is like a cool experience. So like
Mhm.
I know how to travel, so I know how to live life, and at the same time, I'm feeling like
Yeah,
I love my friends and they love me as well. But the thing is, I'm like not this friend who is how say going to be like like a patient with them, when they're going through some kind of like a drama, or like through something like very heavy. I can be there, talk to them and support them in a moment, and tell them like everything will be fine, no worries, just pass it, just
Yeah.
go through this, everything will be working out eventually. And just observing them, how long it takes them actually overcome the 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 pain or whatever they're going through.
Yeah.
And by observing that, I'm learning like, oh my gosh, my life is just so easy. I mean, yes, I had some hardships in my childhood, but after a while in my adult life, I had some, moments in America as well. But like overall, my life was amazing, and I feeling like, why people spending so much time on being sad, or miserable, or like going on these like cycles. And I started to ask my friends, why are you doing it to yourself? And they cannot even answer to themselves, because they just it's just a kind of like a pattern that they're going every time, and they cannot switch to a different pattern because they don't want to. And
Mhm.
for me, like, why people do that? I was like, why you have this like misery in your life? And
Yeah, they
for
don't need
me,
to.
like
Yeah.
like why, like, it's life is already so beautiful. Like, just walk out of your door and see how beautiful life is. It's just so much going on. There's so much like happening in each moment. And how much you can be like sitting in this sadness and this darkness and be like sad about some small things that actually doesn't matter in a bigger picture of life. And for me, like, explaining them this, not explaining, just sharing that with them in my way. I would say like this, that I'm sharing with you. Some of them getting, appreciating. Some of them like scared of me, like, you too positive. It's like you're so positive all the time. Why you're so positive?
So,
And
yeah. So
exactly.
cool. Yeah, that's so cool. You know, as we run down on time, thank you so much for being. How do people get your books? How do people get your positivity to jump on them? Is there a web page? Is there books? How can we do that as folks that are wanting to
People,
get more
people
Aisha?
People can find me on Amazon. It's a Joyful Living guidebook.
Okay.
And people also can book a time with me through my website, Aisha.today. It's AISHA dot today, where they can find everything about me, about my art, about my mentorship program, about the project that I'm doing right now. And yeah, and I also would like to be a speaker, more like a
Okay.
speak for the conferences and online conferences, like, and uh, get myself a little bit out my like next, let's say, challenge that I want to take in this journey of inspirational, motivational, conversational, whatever it is. It's just going to be so much fun. I'm just feeling like I get to just have joyful fun, out of what I'm creating right now. And I'm so grateful that what I have and who I have in my life. Thank you.
Wow, well, I'm looking at your website right now. It is wonderful. The Joy of Living guidebook.
Yeah.
For those of you who are watching this and just you can tell somebody that you should be around, somebody that you should communicate with. Gia's Dream Girl, and yeah, just all this wonderful art that you have. It's so beautiful. Thank you for spending time with me today and time with our listeners, and I hope that they will get with you. Do you have one closing thought that you would love to share with folks before we finish today?
Um, I would like that people believe in themselves,
Okay.
and I would love them to never give up on their ideas, on their dreams, and always like have this faith in them, in themselves, like, because faith is something like powerful actually. When we're trusting to the process and we have faith towards the process, we understand that um, it's life. We get to go through this, and each day it's an experience itself, and we are here to create our experiences and enjoy them.
Cool. Thank you so much. Like I said, for those of you, hit subscribe, hit notifications, watch this over and over again. If this podcast was something that you would love to share with somebody, go ahead and share with them. You
Yes.
kind of talked about that. Don't be miserable. Don't let them be miserable. Because if they are, oh my gosh, there's no reason to be. There's so much joy that can be in the world. And I'm
Exactly.
sure get online, go to Aisha.today. If you want to go to Portugal, I'm sure she will meet you in Portugal.
Yes,
Yeah,
I am.
I love it. So, again, thank you for being on today. I can't wait to do. I want to check back with you in a year if you let us, just to see how things are going. If you're still in Portugal or you're somewhere else, because you're such an amazing, wonderful spirit, and I can't wait to spend more time with you. So thanks for being on. Don't forget you are God's greatest gift. We love you if you allow Him to, and we will talk to you on the next one.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Joyful living. Namaste. Bye for
And
now.